Hi, I'm Raccoon Stew. Welcome to my first art vlog. Make yourself comfy, we got a lot to do. I'm going to introduce myself, where I came from, and where I plan on going. So, without further ado, let's go. So not too long ago, I finally quit my job in retail that I've been working for over a year now. This isn't going to be a takedown vid or anything, but I do want to talk about how I got there, what it was like, and what ultimately pushed me to leave. Let's roll it back to 2022. Middle of the pandemic, everyone's inside, but restrictions are lifting. I still had some savings from teaching, so I thought, hey, perfect opportunity. Why don't I actually try selling some art? Novel, right? So I spent the better part of that year grinding for a local arts festival that fall. I even learned a new style that I thought maybe it might be my new signature style. And that festival did have a lot of value, but none of it was monetary. My first festival bombed hard, which, hey, to be fair, it's not uncommon or anything, but it did not do any favors for my bank account. I sunk a lot into attending this festival, and I definitely did not make that money back. Because of that little goof, I had to buckle up, put on my big boy pants, and start looking for a job. So when it came to finding jobs, I spent months in radio silence with no results. Now, I ain't new to the job market. I figured I had enough experience on the resume to get at least a few callbacks from some of these jobs. But a couple months later, I wasn't quite so sure anymore. Naturally, it wasn't doing too great for my mental, and naturally, my bills didn't care. But luckily, I did get hired on to my last job early last year. Funny thing about retail, I think that as a job, the amount of flack that it gets is both warranted and unwarranted. The actual work itself isn't inherently demeaning, but it's the culture around it that makes it so terrible. And sure, it's not what I would call a dream job or anything, but it's not like it doesn't have any value. Hell, it was one of the few jobs that was deemed essential back when the pandemic kept everyone from working. No, see, retail sucks because we are forced to allow customers to treat us poorly. As a retail employee, we are constantly reminded of how little we matter to almost everyone we meet in that store. A customer can throw their stuff at you and you're still expected to serve them. They can leave dirty or even worse, bloody tissues on the sales floor, but it's your responsibility to clean it up. They can barge into your personal space and argue about prices or throw trash away or even just because, and you're expected to be polite, be unfazed, be quote unquote professional. Even though if someone did half of that in the streets, it'd be taken for the threat or insult that it actually is. But don't expect any sympathy. You signed up for this. Everyone knows what retail is like, and if you go into that, it's on you. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because I think back to what my parents taught me about how essential it is to treat everyone with at least a basic level of respect. But then, as soon as you step behind that register, it's as disposable as the dirty tissues they left in the store for you to clean up. I pushed that thought away to the back of my head. I was outside again. I was around people again. I was making money again. I was getting my shit together. It may not have been the best, but at least it was something. And for a time, that was good enough. I had nice coworkers, occasionally nice customers as well. The schedule was flexible. I could feed myself. But it's a death by 1,000 cuts. As months went on, more instances of people talking and treating me any old way. I'm not new to this either. I've been disrespected plenty in my lifetime. But as I grow older, I start to wonder, why should I be okay with it? I'm getting treated any old way, and for what? It's not even for me, it's for some other person to benefit from. Some person who neither knows nor really even cares that I exist. So what am I doing then? If was working for myself, I'd be able to justify it. At least then I'd benefit from it. And so I quit. I had to try again. I can't go back to retail. At least that's my perspective. Speaking of perspective, what you've been seeing in the background is a timeline of my perspective comic. Perspective comics are little windows into a moment of time in my life. It could be anything really, something profound, mundane, or anything in between. It's something of a journal, I guess. I'll post these on my socials, which you can find later. And hey, let me know in the comments, what's your perspective on retail? Anyway, back to story time. So what do I plan to do different this time? Well, for one, I actually have a plan this time. The biggest mistake I made in my first run was being too quiet. I just holed up in my room making art all day. And while that is very productive, it becomes a waste when nobody knows that you exist. So, first step, stop being a shut-in. More specifically, I want to find my audience. If I plan to succeed, it'd be nice to have people that actually want me to. I like to visualize it like I'm building a castle. I'm setting a solid foundation that I can build up on over time. Then maybe one day I'll have built something solid enough to support myself with. So, how exactly do you build an art business? Well, here's a tip. So the first thing you gotta ask is, what is my brand? See, your brand is going to be the deciding factor in every move you make, so you should have a clear idea as to what exactly that is. The key is for it to be something you kind of already want to do anyway. For me, I want to tell stories, so naturally, my content is going to lead towards storytelling in some way. The goal is to essentially build a profile to fall back on when you maybe get confused down the line on what direction you want to take. But in simpler terms, it keeps you consistent, which, is what you want. So let's get a little introspective. Ask yourself these questions. What is it that you want to do more than anything? How can you make it into a product or a service? What's your goal with all of this? To make money, to share your goals, to build a community? What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? What skills do you have that will help you? And what skills will you need to pursue your goal? I think that's enough at least to get you to the starting line. And let me know in the comments, what is it that you want to do more than anything else? I hope it can inspire you to be the artist that you want to be in the future. And actually, while we're on the topic, I want to take the time to highlight the artists that helped guide me towards becoming a marketable artist. So first, Mute Triple. She's an independent artist that used to work in the animation industry, and if that's in your direction, she'd be the best guide in both what it took to get into the industry, as well as learning how to start your own art business. Inkwell is a professional con artist, short for convention artist, and he gives a lot of personal reference as well as metrics for how much it costs to sell at conventions, where to sell, as well as figuring out how to establish yourself on social media. Lastly, Kelsey Rodriguez is the textbook self-made artist, selling original paintings as well as prints. She goes into great detail about how to market yourself and the financial realities of being an independent artist. These three were integral to my planning, and I think they can help you too. Their links are in the description. Definitely check them out. So what's next then? Well, first things first, I'm gonna have some fun because this video took way longer than I intended to, and I am tired. So, in the meantime, I'm gonna go and have some fun by making a bunch of shorter videos about stuff I like. In between that, I'll be working on some larger projects behind the scene. But with that all being said, I just have to say thank you for watching. If you want to follow me, I have an Instagram and Twitter. I have the tags on screen and links down below. Once again, links for the artists that inspire me are down below as well. And hey, if you like this vid, feel free to like, comment, maybe even subscribe. But more than anything, have a great day. See you.